All right, so I just got done wrapping up not one, but 2 track days in something that's very cool and something that's, well, rather pedestrian. I'll let you decide which one is which. One of the comparisons of this car that was constant even before it came out, and we frequently see online these days, is between the Lotus Emira and the Ferrari 488 GTB. Luckily, this weekend I had the chance to drive both of them back to back on 2 different racetracks. One, Atlanta Motorsports Park, the other, Road Atlanta. I gotta say, handling characteristics, very similar. The specs of the car, very similar. Did I walk away preferring one over the other? Yes, I did. It may come as a surprise, it may not. Before we get into the footage, let's break down the specs of both cars. For the sake of this comparison, we're solely going to use the V6 Lotus Emira. So breaking it down between the 2 vehicles, they're very, very similar actually. The Lotus is the 2GR FE V6 supercharged engine, while the Ferrari has the F154 3.9 liter V8 twin turbo. Now 3.9 liters, that is a smaller V8. It makes it more responsive, especially with those twin turbos. Naturally, it's gonna have a little more power, but both being mid-engine, rear-wheel drive with similar responsiveness, they felt a lot alike. So in this case, I'm running the 6-speed manual V6 Emira because I cannot give up the standard transmission. Where in the GTB, it was a 7-speed dual clutch auto. And unfortunately, with extreme experience, I was not allowed to do the shift work. So maybe the proper comparison would be the i4 version of the Lotus Emira, but we got what we got and I want to talk through this. So the Emira, we all know, has 400 horsepower at 6,800 RPM with 310 foot-pounds of torque, where the GTB has 661 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 561 foot-pounds of torque. Now, mind you, I drove the 488 on Atlanta Motorsports Park, which is a very short, very tight, very narrow track. So I probably did not get to use the full extent of what that Ferrari had to offer. And because of this, it did feel a lot like the Lotus Emira, both in performance, weight, grunt, the whole 9. A lot of that comes from a similar curb weight. So the V6 Emira is 3,284 pounds, and I took an average spec of the 488 GTB at 3,300 pounds. You can spec them to be nearly the exact same weight as the Lotus Emira. You can also spec them to be a little heavier. The one thing I did feel the difference in was the longer 3-inch wheelbase of the 488. We're talking 101.3 inches in the Emira versus 104.3 in the Ferrari. So there it is on paper. Let's get into what it was like to drive them back to back. As for the Ferrari, I was initially very excited. I love AMP. It's a fun track, new car. I thought it'd be a very cool experience. However, I was worried about the length of time in the car. 3 laps isn't very much. And then I saw this parade in front of me. I don't know if this was the staff and the crew warming the cars up. I don't know if this was the first run group, just getting used to everything. I'm not sure. Luckily, not everybody was going that slow. If there's one thing to be said about Extreme Experience, the whole thing was very professional. Everyone that worked there, from the coaches to the admin people to the photographers, they were all great. Is it worth the money? That's the ultimate question. And if you're a track guy or a real car guy at heart, I don't know. Without discounts, you're paying something like $200 per lap after you buy the insurance that you're required to purchase. You get 3 laps per session. And even if you were interested in purchasing one of these cars and wanted some experience beforehand, you literally cannot learn anything about the car in 3 laps. Especially if it's a new track and you don't know the lines of the track. This is the company that advertises all over your social media feed. And although it's a great gift because it's not something most car guys would probably purchase for themselves, it felt a little like Disney. Every 15 to 30 minutes, a whole new group of people showed up and they were lining you up and getting you in and out of the cars and taking a photo as quickly as possible. I can't hate on the people that work there. They were all great, and I'm sure they are true enthusiasts, but this whole concept is just a money-making machine. I would almost say scheme, but it's not necessarily something from a cost perspective that I would recommend. Again, you have to leave it in sport mode, you're not allowed to paddle shift, and most of all, it's just so hard to learn a car when you technically only get about 2.5 laps around the track. My final statement on this is geared towards TikTok warriors, people on the gram, or those that have never been behind the wheel before. Less so car enthusiasts. Anyway, I've talked too much. Let's get into some footage of actually driving the Ferrari. How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Real quick.
Yep.
Press on that brake pedal nice and firm. And then rest on top of the wheel, and then tuck your thumbs in. How does that feel?
Good.
Looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
All right, listen to your instructor. There's your belt.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome time.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so foot on the brake, pull back on the right paddle. That puts us in drive, and I gotta wait for our pit.
Okay, I said I was gonna stop talking, but I gotta call this point out too. They turn all the mirrors towards themselves so that you have no idea what's around you at any given time. I get it's to eliminate more things for the average person to pay attention to, but A, it's a little unnerving, and B, twice he asked me to go and somebody was coming up on my left side.
My job is to keep you safe and keep out of your pocketbook. So
Yeah, I appreciate
it's not the exact race line.
Yeah, I heard it's 3 feet off or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, no worries.
So, Matt,
Yes, sir.
squeeze those brakes. I'm Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. So, quick reminder from class. Your side, my side, acceleration, lift foot all the way off the gas, brake, and firm brake. The fact that you've already been on tracks before, you're probably very familiar, but you know, again, I just try to emphasize the more communication that we have, the more I can, okay, he knows what he knows what's going on, and so if I give him a command, because there's other things we have to listen to.
I always like to learn, so don't feel like you're over communicating or anything.
Okay. I may have somebody come out here who wants to do 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I have somebody who wants to go into the corner at 150. I'm like, okay, well.
I'm glad they said that, because when I first got here, everybody was going incredibly slow, and I was like, please tell me this isn't the experience.
So you've been to this track before?
I have, yes, sir. In my RX-8 is what I was tracking at the time.
I love those.
I loved it.
Actually, the RX-7 3rd gen.
I had one of those too.
Oh, what a beautiful car.
Yeah, I used to track that, and then they kept going up in value, and I was like, this is probably not smart. But now I'm tracking a Lotus Emira, which is almost $100,000 car.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we're finally off. The other thing I forgot to mention is they do have a 3 feet rule to provide an extra cushion of security. So at no point can you be within 3 feet of the edge of the track. Granted, I went over the rumble strips once because that is the line. The second time he tried to rip the steering wheel out of my hand. Also unnerving.
And this is really just feel the car. Feel the car. You're not going to, you know, I say that. I've seen all sorts of people drive, so, you know, maybe you'll get some top speeds, but it's really, because of this type of course, you're going to feel the cornering. So all the way, you're going to do heavy braking on that orange pointer for the corner, so, oh, I love you, Matt!
That's weird. That's weird.
Love it, though.
Hearing it shifted and...
Yes. Nice.
So in the beginning, I'm just getting used to the car. The first lap, you're really trying to feel out the brakes and how the car responds. Again, if you don't know the track, you're trying to figure out even more. So think about that when you only have a 3-lap session. Overall, Chris, my instructor, was great. He's starting to get more comfortable with me. Nothing against Chris at all. It's kind of just the nature of the beast. I'm also going to hold back a bit when I'm driving not only somebody else's car, but somebody else's car that's as expensive as the Ferrari. I have insurance, but the list of fees for any minor related thing was high. If you put a tire off any edge, that alone was $250, even though there'd be absolutely nothing wrong with the car. I'm not looking to shell out that kind of cash. That's a whole track weekend in some places.
You got it. Keep going. I'll tell you when to lift. Keep going. Get ready to transition to my side. There we go. Stay in it. And lift. Squeeze those brakes.
Those brakes are pretty good.
Even more brake. Brake. We're going to stay on the outside of this corner here. Avoid the dirt.
You can also see the various colored cones around the track as we go by. They had one for lift, one for brake, one for heavy brake, one for apex, and I believe one other. Obviously, we're braking way too early for the track and for the capabilities of this car.
You may want to
Go further out.
I'm trying to decide if we want to give him some room or not, because I feel like he's kind of wanting us to pass. those brakes.
I squeezed too hard, it hit it.
No.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, but it. Nice.
Probably too soon though.
Yeah, just a bit, but you know what? You can always power out. You can't when it's too late. Power up that hill. And lift. Tap that brake. There you go. Hug the. A little bit tight
Oops,
there.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I keep forgetting the 3 feet rule.
Yeah. Drift on out and stay into that gas. Just nice, firm, smooth inputs. Stay in it. Good, good, good. Stay in it. I'll tell you when to lift. Get ready for the transition to my side. Transition over. There you go. Stay in it. Loving it. And lift. Squeeze those brakes hard. All right.
The other thing that was rather interesting is somebody that comes from the track world. A point by is a point by, and here they wave to acknowledge that they see you and then point you by, and then you wait for the coach to tell you it's cool to go around. I get it, because a lot of people that are here have never been on track before, but it's hard to deprogram your head into not accelerating when you see that point by.
150 plus horse more.
Right.
It's the driver. Stay with
The amount of new construction going up at AMP is crazy. A lot of these tracks are going to the privatized club model, which although would be a lot of fun if you live in the area, it's typically quite expensive.
Wait. All right, now pass. You got it.
The exhaust note you're hearing here is pretty representative of what the car sounded like. I know these are some of the best sounding engines in existence, but I don't know if it was the fact that we were in sport mode as opposed to track and it's valved differently, but it was oddly much more quiet than I expected.
Lift, squeeze those brakes. Come on around.
It's punchy when it shifts.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the car kind of knows you. It's like, okay, I can tell by this power band.
Yeah.
So the hazards means I'm bringing people up.
What's the hazards? I'm sorry.
That he's got there. So lift, squeeze those brakes.
Oh, we're going off.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hey, not off,
Sorry.
off.
Did you blink? So for 2.5 laps in this video, you're paying almost $600. I ended up paying for 2 sessions, which I assumed we would stay out and do a complete 6 laps in one run, but unfortunately that wasn't the case
The
here.
rear slide just a hair, and it was predictable. Like it did.
Yes.
Granted, obviously I'm holding back because it's not my car, but
Well, I appreciate, because we don't want you to, I don't want to have you buy me a wrecked Ferrari.
let's do it.
I love your car control. It makes it so easy.
So there's a few times I didn't feel smooth enough, actually.
Well, I mean,
But
it's,
thank you.
hey, I grade everybody differently.
Yeah.
You really were attuned to the rules, the regs, but still getting the most out of it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I'm pretty used, especially the Lotus trail braking and letting it slide a little,
Yeah.
and then gassing, and that thing that'll squat and just
Now,
like a rocket.
God, I'm trying to think of, the Porsche.
Yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
Porsche is,
I looked at GT4s before I bought the Emira, but I don't know. Porsches are everywhere.
Yeah.
Those are kind of a little rare.
So do you do wrench on your own?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Anything I can. There's a lot of electronics these days.
A lot of this session will be dedicated to getting around the cars in front of me, but at one point, for whatever reason, either I scared the instructor or he did not want me touching the rumble strips. You'll see in lap 2 that he grabs the steering wheel and tries to pull me back into the track. In my opinion, that's more dangerous than letting me track out. We had plenty of room and there was nothing to worry about.
So what's the line here? Do you tend to stay mid?
I try to hug.
You can also see here one of the biggest things I did not like about the Ferrari, or probably automatics in general. As it's downshifting, it's not doing it at the right time or the right speed, and she starts to buck a little.
Squeeze those brakes. Stay Yep. Right behind the next one. Squeeze those brakes a bit. There you go. Stay with them though.
Now in my world, I'm calling this a point buy.
Brake. He sees us.
Yeah, that's what that meant. That wasn't a point buy.
Yeah.
Got it.
No. Now he wants us to go by on the outside. Perfect. Put wide there. Lift, brake heavy. Good brakes.
No ABS either, which was nice.
Beautiful. Well, you got, like you say, it's hard to get it in 3 laps.
Yeah.
But the 4th one did it for you. And lift, tap that brake, come on over, another tap of the brake. Yeah, so this S, there's not really a lot of speed there. And then hug that inside. Beautiful. Track out, and then back over. Squeeze those brakes nice and firm. Come on around. A little bit tighter there.
I gotcha.
Now let's play that back one more time. I hit the apex just fine. There's plenty of runoff. We're not going incredibly fast, and yet he still grabs the steering wheel. I don't get it. I don't think that's the safest maneuver there, but I understand that they also work with a lot of people that have never been behind a car like this, let alone any sports car, or even seen a track, let alone driven on one. So I get it, but at the same time, I don't get it.
Keep her going. There we go. Follow them all the way down. Squeeze those brakes hard. Real hard. There you go. About 1 car length behind him. He sees us, so he's going to let us go probably up the hill. So let's see where he's got us. Wait for it. He wants us on the outside. There we go. Lift, squeeze that brake, and then come on around. There you go. Green. Stay on the outside. Perfect.
Got it.
Perfect.
That's the way to do it.
Keep her going. Now start gas. Oh, righty. We can get right behind the GTR there. He sees us and he wants us on the outside, so gas. Beautiful. Beautiful. Keep her going. Keep her going. Now we can't pass yet. We're waiting for another.
Being the last and final lap, we're starting to string together a decent run. The problem is the other cars. So instead, my goal this time became just to hug the rear end of this other 488.
The inside.
There's some feel.
I mean, that grip is amazing. Back around. Smooth out. So squeeze those brakes firm. I think that ABS is because of the landscape.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a little loose there. All right, he sees us. He wants us on the inside. There we go. All the way down. And squeeze that brake, then power on out. Lift. Come on in. What'd you think of that run?
Good. Sorry to scare you.
No. You were.
I knew it was pushing. I wasn't gonna let it go off. But
No. I saw that last Ferrari had a little bit of scoot on turn 6.
Yeah.
They were out there.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing me that line on the. I forget what turn it is at the top of the hill.
Yeah, I think. Wow, I can smell those. The look. Got a little break happening
Yeah.
there.
Got some brakes cooking for sure.
And that really is you're driving to the track.
Chris here was a really cool guy, but the question I have now is, was this genuine or is this the next sales pitch?
Cool. It was a very cool experience.
I mean, try something else.
Yeah.
While you're out here,
Yeah.
you've already paid for the insurance, so what the hell?
Yeah.
You know, ask Abby to hook you up with a discount, but I'd like to see your opinion of it. I mean, the 488 is an awesome car. If you did the 296, you'd be even faster.
What's your favorite car? Obviously, you're a Corvette guy, but
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, that or the Lambo.
I'm gonna hear you down.
After editing this and looking back, I'm trying to decide if I'm being a little too hard on Extreme Experience. I get the clientele that they're targeting. I get not everybody has the same level of experience as maybe I do. I also understand because of that, it's like a mixed condition environment, and coaches have to go into every single session as if the driver's brand new to a car like this. But going back to their website and seeing how they market it, it just doesn't feel like the experience they're advertising. And the low number of laps combined with the large groups of people that they're flipping in and out of the cars every 20 to 30 minutes, it just felt a little more gimmicky than tailored experience. I would rather drive a Miata on track all weekend or go rent a Cayman, etc. for a day than to pay this kind of money for 3 laps in this environment. It also might have come down to the track itself just being smaller, and maybe this same experience at a different track would be ideal. All in all though, I had a great time. Like I said, everybody including my instructor was awesome. I just don't know if I would recommend it to others. Now let's talk initial impressions.
When the Ferrari shifts, it hits every time. And granted, I was tracking in sport mode, so I can only imagine what track mode felt like. The Ferrari is about 3.5 inches longer than the Lotus Emira, and I have to say, you do feel that length. It's hard to believe, I don't know why, but you felt it. Weight was very similar. I would say handling was very similar outside of the wheelbase.
With the caveat that the Ferrari definitely corners flatter. Granted, I'm still on factory sports suspension, so it'd be interesting to see the comparison once I upgrade.
Braking was pretty similar, I'd say. But the Ferrari definitely felt more stiff. In all of your inputs, from the gas pedal to the brake pedal to the steering, everything felt more stiff. For those of you that have driven high-performance German cars, that's kind of what I could relate it to. In those vehicles, I feel like all of the controls, all of the inputs, everything is just a little more solid, a little less give. That's kind of how the Ferrari felt. But from an apples to apples comparison, driving these back-to-back on track same weekend, I would say they're much closer than you think.
Now that we've checked out the Ferrari, let's get into something a little more exciting. Beginning with where the car stands today, and then we'll jump into Road Atlanta.
There's some updates since the last shakedown of this car at Roebling Road. Beginning with the brakes. So for this particular track day, we now have the Paget RSL 29s. You can see here that it does have the Eurodisc rotors. I did not have those on for the track day. So spoiler alert, something about this track day made me immediately order these rotors prior to even leaving the track. So although the pads did benefit the car, it was not the end all be all. And in the end, I did place an order for those rotors before ever leaving the track. The other things that were new this go around is it was the first time that we properly got to test both the Tillet bucket seats, B10 XLs, as well as the OMP harnesses, which are attached to the harness bar. Obviously, I got to try these out at the Tail of the Dragon, but this is the first time that I've got to experience them on track. And anyone that's ever gone from factory seat to a proper track setup can speak to the benefit. You're not fighting yourself in the seat and trying to hang on. You're actually focused on the driving itself, and it makes all the difference. I finally have the Garmin somewhat permanently mounted. I really like where this sits from the driver's perspective. The biggest thing that I had to do was run the wires, and thankfully for the cameras, Lotus put in a USB port up here. So the wires ran very easily from the camera as well as the power cable. I did cleanly pull off the A-pillar cover so that I could run them behind and keep it as clean as possible. I still need to lower at least one side of the headliner to properly run these cables for a fully installed look. Currently, I just have them tucked above the visor and it works out okay. The other thing I did is with the length of these ram mounts for the Garmin itself, the weight of the Garmin did have this bouncing a little bit. This is just one of those plastic clips that I have since rigged up with some rubber nubs, and that alone keeps this from really vibrating at all and worked out really well on the track. So it's right next to the gauges, it's a good viewpoint, and now nothing is obstructing the front windshield, which I prefer.
And with some of these improvements, it's time for the official shakedown number 3.
As we line up for the first session of the day, a lot of things go through my head. Are the brakes gonna hold? Is the harness tight and comfortable? Did I torque the lug nuts correctly? Did I let air out of my tires? Am I in the right run group? Should I even be out here? But within a few laps, you quickly come into your rhythm. With nearly all track days, and I assume all track days, the first 2 laps are under a standing yellow flag, which means no passing. It's specifically meant to get your tires and the rest of the car warm and up to temperature. So you'll see by the end of the second lap, we're in a bit of a train. I take it pretty easy here, just like everybody else, because now's the time to find any faults with the car or to recognize anything you may have overlooked before the session really kicks off. So far, so good. It's too early for the brakes to start shuddering. So as of now, we're in a good place and we'll carry on with the rest of the session. Once the standing yellow flag goes down, that's typically when chaos ensues. You can see there's probably a 10-car lineup here going down the front straight, and we'll soon be allowed to pass. Everybody will be jockeying for position, so to speak. First lap of the day was around the 2-minute mark. Again, that was a warm-up lap. That's about 15 seconds off of my typical pace, but this is only my second time doing a track day at Road Atlanta, and the first time was in my Mazda RX-8. Road Atlanta is very much a horsepower track, and outside of turns 10A and 10B, a higher weight, higher horsepower vehicle can pretty much get anywhere around this track, as well as a lower weight, lower power vehicle. But it's the 2 main straights and the short stretch just after turn 5 where horsepower really matters. And you'll see that in a few of these clips. This upcoming turn, turn 7, can be a bit of a challenge for everyone. It's a very slow corner requiring patience, and it's all about how you come off the corner that provides the drive on this back straight. I practiced leaving it in 3rd gear. I preferred downshifting to 2nd gear for more drive, but oftentimes I was missing 2nd. It was a struggle. That M2 I just pointed by, I later found out that his PB was about 4 seconds better than the best time I hit this day. I'm hoping when my brakes are squared away and I have a bit more confidence that the car will stop, I can catch up to that PB time. Coming into the final 3 turns of this lap, well, can you call them 3? I don't get why this is called 10A and 10B and not 10 and 11, but that's neither here nor there. Coming into the final 3 turns of this lap, you're going to see that we finish it up at a 148 and some change. If you remember, the warm-up lap was around 2 minutes, the second lap was a 157, the third lap was a 154, and now we're back into the 140s, which is exactly where we should be. With the proper brakes and suspension, this car should easily be in the high 130s. But the times are coming down. This is my first track day at Road Atlanta in the Emira, only second time at Road Atlanta as a whole, and we're not too trustworthy with the vibrating brake. Being 4 laps in, the brake shuddering had already started. It usually only takes a couple laps before this starts because it's typically heat induced. I also believe there's hot spots on the rotors, but I never feel them when the brakes are cool. For this track day, I did change out the pads to the Paget RSL 29s from the EBC RP1s. That did help a little bit, but it was evident even now that I needed to upgrade my rotors.
2 more seconds shaved and we're coming into the final lap of the session. They say the best laps come off the best final corners, so hopefully I did something right here. Nah, I already know I did. You'll see I shaved another second off this lap to complete the final one of this session. It makes sense that the best lap comes with the least traffic. Of course, I like to follow people's lines, but in this case, I'm glad they weren't there.
You can see on this short straight how much horsepower makes a difference. The Miata got pretty close to my rear bumper before coming up that hill. Granted, he does close up a little bit on this turn, but we're about to push into the back straight, and at that point the Lotus is gone. Hey, not bad for the first session of the day with bad brakes. For context, this is already 3 seconds faster than my fastest time in an RX-8 that I was very comfortable with. Granted, I think I was having issues with the 8 at the time too, but I'll take it, and the extra horsepower doesn't hurt. So this next session was a bit of a chaotic session. One thing I've been wanting to do forever was to rig up some sort of pedal cam, mostly for my own feedback and learning, but also because people have asked for it, especially with how tight this pedal box truly is. Again, it's very hard for me to do this if I'm not wearing racing shoes, but what I've learned is keeping your heel all the way to the right in front of the gas and overemphasizing your toes to the left will help you blip the throttle with your heel. It can be done even with a size 14 shoe in this tight of a pedal box. For the first 8 months of ownership and even today, I still sometimes hit the brake and the gas at the exact same time, especially when I'm wearing tennis shoes. So when tracking, once again, I highly suggest you brake with the ball of your foot, toes pivoting to the left of the brake pedal and blipping the throttle with your heel. Some people do the foot twist. I have not successfully been able to do that without hitting both at the same time. So this is my method. Maybe it will work for you. Every so often you just get it right, and this is an example of that. After heel tolling for the last 6-7 years or so, I still don't do it right 100% of the time, and I'm sure we're gonna find plenty of wrong examples throughout the rest of this clip. At least there's an open track for now, and here comes another great opportunity to test start our heel toe in turns 10A and 10B. Hey,
Not bad. I'm realizing I need to mic up the engine once again for a good pedal cam. That way we can clearly and distinctly hear the blips. I'll work on this in the future. Later in the day, I began downshifting going up the hill as opposed to at the very top of the hill for a little more drive. I believe this yielded faster results, as we'll find my PB coming up in the next session. I always prefer to let a faster car through if I see it coming up in the rear view, but where I make a huge mistake is not tucking in behind that GR86. I'm treating it like a Sunday drive. What am I doing? Some people hate coming up on traffic like this, but sometimes I love a good train. This is when sessions become chaotic and a lot of fun. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. We can act like I was sitting still. The speed at which this C8 is about to go through these other cars is very impressive. I mean, it's absolutely gone. I'm gonna follow him through, just at a slightly lower clip. we come down to the front straight, pay attention to the flag station up here on the right. Wait for it. Nothing. Guy's just hanging out. But at the top of the hill, it gets a little different. Wait for it. Well, now that can't be good. Clearly that ended this session, so no flying laps here. I was lucky to have a couple laps in the 149s. Looking back at this session, I felt like I was on a Sunday drive the majority of the time. I wasn't carrying enough corner speed in the majority of the corners. I wasn't tucking in behind other cars. I might have been testing out the cameras and focusing on my footwork. I might have been weary of the brakes. I don't know, but not every session can be a winner. So with that, we pit in and wait for session 3, which will be my last and final session of the day. I have about a 4.5 hour drive home from this point. I've now had 2 days of track driving, so I'd like to make it home with a little daylight to spare. It was about the time I came around the first corner of this lap that I saw some cars in the distance. A whole train of them. So now it's on to catch up. I was doing pretty well to maintain a steady gap with this Mustang. However, this corner kept tripping me up. I missed the downshift, he got away. I'm still up on time for this session, but I think I could have hung with him. To wrap this up, I'm going to leave you with the unclipped video of my best lap for the day. Frankly, it's the best lap I've done. on Road Atlanta. There's a lot of time in this car, with or without bad brakes, with or without stock suspension, even as is. It's clear I'm not carrying enough corner speed in most corners. I think the lines are okay. Obviously, some improvements can be made, especially in terms of consistency, but I need to carry more speed. At the end of the day, it was a great day of track driving, great day of shaking this car down one more time, and a great day to learn Road Atlanta once more. Hopefully I see some of you all out there in the future. I know there's another Emira that comes to Road Atlanta frequently. We've never crossed paths, but I'm looking forward to that day. It'd be good to follow the lines of another driver in the same vehicle. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. You're probably like me that prefers longer format videos so that you can put it on in the background while you're working, running on a treadmill, maybe in the gym. But if not, I'd really love your feedback to hear what made you stick around. Although it wasn't a direct comparison between a Ferrari 488 and a Lotus Emira, I just got lucky enough that these two events fell on the same weekend and did not necessarily overlap. What was interesting was they were both mid-engine rear-wheel drive vehicles of similar proportions, similar wheelbases, nearly identical weight, and when you have the potential of the Ferrari on the smaller, shorter track versus the potential of the Emira on a larger, wider, higher horsepower track, it really did even out the capabilities of the two cars and made them feel a lot alike. I do think, and this is going to sound crazy, I do think that in the trim that I drove versus my Emira, the Emira felt a little more premium. Call me crazy, but the suede, the layout, the size, the combo of the textures, the Emira just feels that good, where the Ferrari that I drove was a plain black interior, wore out leather. I understand it's basically a glorified rental car, so there's that to consider, but a little bit of a disappointment. I've seen higher spec 488s that probably feel a little more premium, but I think the Lotus really holds its own in higher company. Anyway, thank you for watching. Feel free to give me some feedback if you'd prefer more unedited track laps, more pit footage or interviews of other drivers, or videos containing simply of highlights that are 20 minutes or less. I'm all ears. Until next time, drive safe.